Hi students, welcome to Vijayata IAS Academy Current Affairs class. Let us take some of the important news items which are relevant for our examination from today's newspapers. The first one is about elections. Here we should see the administrative aspect about these elections. We are not worried about the political angle, but here in our syllabus there is a particular syllabus item, that is salient features of the Representation of People's Act. It is about conducting free and fair elections. Here the constitutional body which is created to fulfill this objective is the Election Commission of India. In that context, in these elections, let us see what are the administrative aspects. Here mainly this news is covering about violation of Model Code of Conduct. Now we have to see how Election Commission of India is tracking the violations of Model Code of Conduct and how it is taking action against them. Here this news can also be used under e-governance model as well. Election Commission of India is using a software to track the Model Code of Conduct violations, and it is taking action against those who are violating the norms. In that context, this can also be given as an example of e-governance applications, models, and the potential of democracy. These are the 5 states recently elections are conducted. In this news, here Election Commission of India is saying that it has received 47,000 plus complaints on violation of Model Code of Conduct. Here, from our examination point of view, in mains, you can quote how effectively Election Commission is taking action against the violations of Model Code of Conduct. Here, in these 5 states, which are started in February, now counting is going to start on March 10th. In these 5 states, Election Commission of India is saying that 47,000 plus complaints have come through the course of assembly elections to Uttar Pradesh, Goa, Punjab, Manipur, Uttarakhand that were held between February 10th and March 7th. Of these, here you can see the number 40,000 plus were found to be correct according to data collected on the poll watchdog's CVigil software. This is why this particular news can also be given as an example of e-governance. Election Commission of India, constitutional body, it comes under GS2, election constitutional bodies, and also conducting elections, representative, this particular act which is mandated for conducting elections, Representation of People's Act, that is administered by Election Commission of India. Here you can remember CVigil software. Through this software, Election Commission of India is tracking these violations and also taking action against these violations. Here in this application, citizens directly register their complaints over this software portal, and the commission takes action against a complaint within 100 minutes of it being lodged. This is the speed at which Election Commission of India is acting, and in that CVigil software is helping Election Commission of India. These complaints, now you can see the range of complaints like offers of cash and freebies to tampering of polling machines and use of foul language. These are some of the examples where citizen can lodge the complaint against any violation during election process. Election Commission of India takes action immediately. The election overseer led by Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners said CVigil application was created to empower citizens to ensure free, fair and accessible elections. Now you can see here you can take this particular phrase and you can convert into a question as well. For example, you remove C application, like how e-governance empowers a citizen to ensure free, fair election, accessible elections. So you can convert into questions as well based on certain phrases or sentences which are given in the newspaper. How e-governance empowers a citizen to ensure free and fair elections. Comment. In that you can quote this particular news item as an example. And the results for these polls, which are conducted across 690 assembly constituencies in 5 states, will be announced on March 10th. Now here there is a list of complaints from different states. Uttarakhand is the highest one, 25,000 plus complaints came, and in Punjab 17,000 plus complaints came, Uttar Pradesh 2,000 plus, Manipur 800 plus, and Goa 600 plus complaints. And of these you can see how many number of cases were also solved by Election Commission of India. Out of 25,000, 24,000 were solved, 17,000 plus or 13,000 plus in Punjab or action taken. In Uttar Pradesh also 2,000 plus complaints came, 1,000 plus actions were taken. So likewise, you can take some of the examples also how Election Commission of India is tracking the violations of Model Code of Conduct and how it is resolving the conflicts. Here, some of the important violations, complaints were on property defacement. Like on the walls, you will find defacement of the walls during election process. Some of the complaints against these, and distribution of alcohol, freebies, religious and communal speeches, and campaigning during the prohibited periods according to official data. Here this particular paragraph, how you can link to our examination. And these are the various violations of Model Code of Conduct. And you can say what are the factors which are unfair practices during election process, and also you can quote some of the examples of violations of Model Code of Conduct. Fearing the misuse of funds to win polls, the Commission had also placed special observers in 63 constituencies. So on one hand, you can see various violations, various examples of violations, and how Election Commission of India is taking action against these violations. How e-governance is improving free and fair election process. An Election Commission release said 290 complaints of violations of Model Code of Conduct were received, of which 108 were found to be true and legal action was being taken. This particular is in this context. In yesterday's particular case, it is talking about how speedily Election Commission of India is resolving the conflicts. And in this particular case, in yesterday's multi-phase elections and UPC's 57 turnout, here in this particular case, here example is about Uttar Pradesh assembly elections campaign. Here this particular news item you can use on what basis political parties asks voters to get the votes. These are some of the examples. Here in Uttar Pradesh assembly elections campaign, ruling party appealed to voters based on welfare schemes, what welfare schemes the government given to the people, and like public distribution system during the pandemic, providing 40 lakh homes to poor under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and also some of the sentimental issues like Hindutva, nationalism, injecting anti-Muslim sentiment are some of the examples of how elections are being fought. Some of the positive aspects, some of the negative aspects. You can quote vibrant democracy and what are the various appeals to the voters from the different political parties. Here opposition parties, they raised the issues of farmers' protests, rampaging stray cattle, inflation and unemployment. And you can use these examples, what are the basis in Indian elections, what are the elements that are used in appealing to the voters, some of the sentiments and some of the developmental aspects. These are the various factors that define the elections in Indian democracy. In that particular context, you can use these elements. So this is about this particular news. You can see in political angle, elections means you have to see through the administrative perspective. Through administrative lens, If you see, you will get a different analysis from the same news item. That is related to GS2. Now, one more news in GS2, it is related to effects of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interests and Indian diaspora. This news is continuously going on for so many days now. Due to Russia-Ukraine crisis, some Indians are there in Ukraine. Now, India is trying hard to bring back Indians safely back home. Here, and in this effort, our Prime Minister speaks to Putin and Zelensky, Ukraine's president, seeks support for quick evacuation. Here, the news is saying that Prime Minister Modi suggested that a direct conversation between President Putin, Russian President, and President Zelensky may greatly assist the ongoing peace efforts. He is appealing both parties to negotiate and resolve the conflict so that peace will be prevailed and Indians can be safely evacuated. He conveyed Indian concerns on the evacuation of students stranded in the Ukraine city of Sumy. It is a border city because as it is a border city, here more violent activities are going on because shelling is taking place on this border area. Here many students are stranded. Now India is greatly concerned about medical students who are stuck in this particular location. Talks between two parties, on the other hand, talks are also going on between Ukraine and Russia. Russia and Ukraine held 3 rounds of inconclusive, so far not concluded, but talks are going on how to resolve the conflict. So far, 17,000 plus brought back. External Affairs Minister is saying that around 17,000 plus Indians have been brought back from various locations in Ukraine on 83 flights under Operation Ganga. This is in news particularly. From Ukraine, Indian students are brought to India through an operation called Operation Ganga, but at least 500 more students remain in Sumy near the Russian border. This is the particular news. It is continuously going on, and this news is tracked today also, just to give the update that whether still Indians are stuck in Ukraine or all the students came out of Ukraine safely or not. And next news is once again related to Ukraine and Ukraine crisis. Here the effects of liberalization on economy. Here this is rupee sinks to record low as oil prices spike. Here we will see due to ongoing Russian conflict, rupee sink to record low of almost 77 rupees against a US dollar. Crude oil prices are soaring to 14-year high, prompting safe haven flows into dollar. As of now, around 130 plus dollar a barrel, approximately 1 barrel means, here this can be particular term useful for prelims, around 1 barrel means 159 liters of crude oil. Due to ongoing this conflict, the parabolic rise in crude oil prices towards multi-layer heights and spiraling commodity prices are fueling inflationary risks. Due to this crude oil rising prices, now Indian rupee is falling, depreciation is taking place. It will affect prices of every commodity in the Indian economy. It will have inflationary risk, which is a key headwind for the rupee dollar exchange rate. Significant outflow from the domestic equities, tracking global cues, also weighing on the domestic currency. Now, due to this conflict, due to uncertainties, many foreign institutional investors also take back their investments from Indian stock market, and they will try to purchase safe haven items like gold and other strong exchanges, other currencies like dollar. In that context, Indian rupee depreciates, and also it will raise the import bill for India. It will affect the inflation within Indian economy. Here in this particular news, let us see. Here 1 barrel of crude oil. Now it will generate a lot of different type of products which are essential for running economy. Here you can see like gas oil, diesel, kerosene. So different type of items or different type of products can be generated from 1 gallon. This is to show that how one particular barrel is useful in generating different products, petrochemical products, and now the prices of all these products is going to rise because one barrel price is rising due to ongoing tensions, because Russia exports a lot of oil and gas. Now the due to sanctions on Russia, the import of oil and gas from Russia goes down. Whatever commodity, whatever oil and crude oil that is being exported from other countries, prices are going to rise. India is going to affect. This is an example to show that how liberalization and globalization is affecting India's economy. So these are some of the important news items from today's newspaper. Thank you.